So Mr. Huggins, while I am thinking of it, it was requested that you take a selfie of yourself and submit that to maybe to your child's teacher, and she can forward it to Mrs. Myers. But I think they're collecting selfies, and I am actually recording this with your permission. All right. Now I've got some noise at my house. I might have to mute myself. Okay, guys, we're going to get started. I'm going to introduce our speaker. And before I begin, Mr. Huggins, will you be sharing your screen?
Yes, I will. Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is, so if I make you the host, oh, wow, he just took a picture of everybody. That's cool. If I make you the host, are you going to be okay with admitting people to the Zoom? Because I feel like people are kind of popping in still. Will that get in your way?
If I notice it pop up, hopefully I won't miss anybody.
I know. Oh, still popping in. Okay, so if you want to, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you. I'm going to make you the host. And when you're ready for me to take over with questions or whatever, you can just make me the host again. I just want to have some reminders for our audience. All right, guys, good audience manners and participation means that while the speaker is presenting and speaking, you are listening. So please remember to hold your questions until the end. And I'm about to mute myself. Mr. Person has a very loud voice and he's working in the background. Sorry about that. Let him have it later. All right, so while you're listening, you're going to be quiet and listening and hold your questions. All right, everybody, let's take a deep breath in. Let it out, shoulders back. And Mr. Huggins is, I think you're a first grade dad, aren't you?
That's right. Come here, Luke.
This is Luke Huggins' dad. I don't have the pleasure of having Luke in my class, but this is so exciting, guys. We have a first grade dad who is going to present for Career Day, and he works for Bank of America, and he is going to tell, is that correct? Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. Awesome. Okay, and he is going to let you know everything it takes for him to do his job. All right, and when I say 1, 2, 3, I'm going to make sure everybody's muted, and I'm going to make Mr. Huggins the host, and he's going to take it away. All right, Mr. Huggins, 1, 2, 3, you're on.
Great. Good morning, everybody. And thank you so much for coming and being here with me. I am excited to share with you. And as Ms. Person mentioned, I am Luke Huggins' dad. Luke is in Miss Whedon's class this year, and he's in rotation B. So that means he's on campus on Thursday and Friday. So I think some of you might be with Luke sometimes. So I'm going to tell you about my job. Oh, I'm going to practice admitting right now. Owen, you're in. Okay. I'm going to tell you about my job at Bank of America. Now stay on mute, but if you've heard of Bank of America, raise your hand. Okay, good. A few people have. That's excellent. Yeah, and some of you, your parents might actually be customers. It's possible. I've still got people coming in, Miss Person. All right, here they come. Okay, so what I will do is, oh yeah, some of your parents might even work with me. I don't know. I would love to hear about that afterward. So what I'm going to do is just tell you a little bit about my job. So I'm going to share my screen. Here it comes. And I will go into presentation mode to make it easier to see. And give me a big thumbs up if you can see my screen. There's Bank of America on it. Thumbs up, great. I can see that it's coming through. Okay, so I work at Bank of America. My name is Robert Huggins. My position at Bank of America is a bunch of fancy sounding words. It's Senior Vice President of Digital Banking. Let's talk a little bit more about what that actually means, and we will get into it. So first of all, you might not know even what a bank does, right? So I want to talk about that. What does a bank do? Bank of America and other banks. Well, I know you've been learning about numbers. Has anyone here seen a number this big? It's a gigantic number. Look at all those zeros. Maybe you can count them on your screen while I'm talking about it. But I'll tell you right now, that number is 17 trillion, which to me, I definitely have never counted that high. I don't know if I could in my lifetime. And I think I have other things I want to do during my life besides try to count that high. But I will tell you what this number is. That's how many dollars are in the banks in America. That's money that banks have to keep safe for everybody. And not only keep it safe and locked down so bad guys can't get it, make it available so that if any of those dollars are yours, go and get them if you need them. So that's the basic job that a bank does, is act as a place where your money is kept safe, but you can also get it when you need it. I can hear Luke on the side in my room here saying, yeah, it's like a gigantic safe, if you've ever heard of a safe. Yep. So why are banks important? Well, without banks, it would be pretty hard to get these things. I think you all know what these are. Those boxes that might show up on your doorstep sometimes, especially over the last 12 months. Some shoes. I don't know if green's your favorite color, but any color shoes you want, you pretty much need money to buy somehow. A house. I have a feeling that you might live in one of those. And the ability to just even get dollars, all of that is made possible by banks storing and keeping safe and making available all those $17 trillion here in America. Let me keep going here. I'm actually still letting people in here. So let me tell you something else that you might not know about banks. A bank like Bank of America, in many ways, has to be a tech company, a technology company, and be able to do things in some ways similar to when you think of other technology companies like Apple or Amazon or IBM. Lots of companies that have to. I see a hand with a question. Do you think you can hang on to it until the end? Okay, you might want to write it down on a note just so you don't forget. And then I would love to talk about it. So what do I mean by that? Well, it means we have to always be inventing. We have to always be thinking of new ways and better ways to help people keep their money safe, but also make it available to them. And so far, if you go into the US Patent Office website, you can see that Bank of America has so far close to 3,000 unique inventions that nobody else has. And that is actually more than some of these other companies that you've probably heard of and think of as inventing cool stuff. That's more than Nintendo has, that's more than eBay has, that's more than Chevron has, or Disney, or Porsche, or even the United States Air Force. So it's kind of cool. We put a big focus at Bank of America on, it's a big word, innovation, which basically means thinking of cool new stuff. I know that Luke here, who's in my room for this presentation, really wants to be an inventor when he grows up. And to be honest, he's already getting started on that goal. I think he invented a time machine the other day, right, Luke? It's still the cardboard box prototype. It doesn't actually go back in time, but every time we wake up, we're a little farther into the future, so it might be working. So let me give you a couple examples. When I talk about innovation and inventing, and I said we always need to be thinking of new and better ways to keep those trillions of dollars safe and make them available to people. Let me start with the picture on the right side of your screen. That is my friend from work. She's not a little girl getting on a school bus anymore. She's a grown up. She has kids of her own. But when she was your age, she was very curious. she shared a story of how her parents found her one time with the family TV sitting open. She had taken it apart and it was lying on the floor because she wanted to figure out, how do those pictures get inside? And so she assigned herself this special project to open up the family TV and try and figure that out. She was very curious, and she's still curious. And today she is one of the people at Bank of America who has invented the most things. And it all started with her being curious and asking questions and working hard in school. And so I'm proud to have her as a friend because she has invented about 200 things at this point. On the left, I share a couple of the inventions that I've had in the last few years. An idea for a digital piggy bank. If you have a piggy bank at home, that you can put coins in or dollar bills. What we did was we came up with a way that you could do that and do it in an even cooler way digitally, using your phone or the computer, ways to move money around, ways for you to save more money and have it be fun, ways for you to earn money, let's say by doing extra above and beyond jobs for your parents, that type of thing. Another one that I thought was interesting was something that your parents might appreciate, which is taking advantage of the GPS on your phone to actually save money on at places like grocery stores, to always know that you're getting the best discounts or getting the most rewards for your shopping. So those are some of the ways that we're always trying to think about, how do we make it better and better and easier and safer for people to save money and be able to get it when they need it. So let's keep going. One that I'm not sure if you've heard of or your parents have heard of, but this is Erica. This is a bot. We call it a virtual financial assistant. That's a fancy word for a bot that can help you. And it's like a robot in that it can try to think and find ways to help you. And it lives right there within your phone, within your Bank of America app. So I work with the team that makes these things, and I try to work with them and come up with more ways that the bot can help you. And here's one more big number for you. When you think about my job and what's interesting about it, there's a lot of people, 40 million people that I have the opportunity to help every single day. 40 million. That's another one of those numbers that I'm probably never going to count to, but that's how many people use Bank of America's app or website every day. These are our customers that I can directly help. So when you think about what you want to be when you grow up, if what you want to do is help a ton of people, this is the kind of job where you might have the opportunity to do that. So let me just get a little more specific. I see another hand. Make sure you hold on to that question. Don't forget it, okay? My job, a little more specifically, I've talked about the bank. I've talked about some of the things I've worked on. Day to day, each day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, when I go to work, what I do is things like decide what bots like Erica should really be doing to help our customers more. Because the idea is, let's make people's lives better. Let's make it easier and safer for people to save the money they need and use it to make their lives better. And then ultimately, I'm a businessman. So when I'm coming up with these ideas, I also am trying to think about it from the standpoint of, how does our business grow? Like, how does the bank actually become able to make more money while helping people? So I get to connect the dots between what do people need and what can we build, and how can we make sure that helping people with their lives. And I love it. I think it's a lot of fun. So when I think about what are the subjects that you are learning that I'm also using every day, it's pretty much everything, all the subject areas that you're learning, but especially subjects like math. We work a lot with numbers in business. I showed you some pretty big numbers already on the screen here. Work a lot with science. So not all science is just like the picture of the kid here where he's got colored juices in beakers. That's part of science. There's a lot of science that we use in business as well. Asking questions, making hypotheses, and coming up with answers, and then turning those into more questions, things we want to learn. We love learning. And then finally, literacy. We use a lot of words too. You've probably already heard me use a lot of words, and I know that when grown-ups talk a lot, it doesn't always connect, but we use reading and writing all the time, every day. So getting good at reading and writing, getting good at science, asking lots of questions, understanding math. These are all really important building blocks for your future. So if you want a cool job, oh, Luke, I think you are starting to share screen, and I am just going to take that back. Other Luke. Okay. So if you want to have a cool job like what I've described, if any of that sounds interesting to you, then here's how you get started now. Keep doing high quality work. I know that you focus on that. Later, when you get a lot bigger, go to college. You do need to do that. And like my friend that I showed getting on the school bus a lot of years ago, just stay curious. I'm not recommending that you take apart your parents' television, but I am recommending that you ask lots of questions, figure out how to find answers, figure out what your next questions are, and how you just keep learning all the time. There's no limit to what your brain can hold. So just keep asking those questions, okay? So I'll stop there and I'll see what your questions are. I know we've got a number of hands, and maybe Miss Person, you can help me with how we go around the room calling on people.
I can definitely do that. I'm going to just pulling up a whole screen full of faces, and I'm going to call on some friends who did not have an opportunity earlier to ask a question. And remember, now, Mr. Huggins, I know that you're a busy man and you're a dad, but I know that if we don't answer all these questions, I bet that friends could email them to their teacher or to me, and that you would answer those questions for us, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, because I wish we could get to everybody, but we can't. Let's see who we did not hear from earlier. Rob, did you get to ask a question earlier?
When and Rob is not my name. This is just my dad's iPad.
I know. I get so confused with the names, and sorry about that. Please state your name and your question.
My question is, what's your job? And I also know his son, and I've met him.
Okay, so about his son, that's a very nice thing to ask, but he was, so let me clarify. It sounds like your question was, what is your job? So I know that you described a lot of pieces of your job, Mr. Huggins. Do you have like a broad name for your job?
Sure. You could say digital banker.
Oh, my dad.
Wow. All right. Digital banker. Okay. Rob, on the screen, if you would, yes, perfect. All right. Tyasia, what is your question, friend?
What do you like about your job?
Yes, thank you. I love thinking about what it is that people need when they need help with their money, and what it is that my company, Bank of America, can do to help them.
Awesome. That's a great question. Thank you, Tyasia. Shreya. I'm sorry. Remember, I don't get to see all of you guys all the time. Shreya, do you have a question, friend?
Yes. Do you work with money?
I do. Not so much the dollar bills, but a lot of money. Some of these things we build cost millions of dollars to build, and they can also make millions of dollars for our company. So there's a lot of money involved. That's why you got to be good at math. You want to make sure that you're adding it up right.
You know, some of our friends out there, and I've got 3 children of my own, think that the little plastic rectangles are magic. But there's actually money connected to the little plastic rectangles, guys.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not free. All right. Rosie. Rosie, have you asked a question before?
I haven't asked a question in both of the Zooms.
Thank you so much. What's your question?
How do you make the money?
So the actual things that you put in your wallet?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the government's job. Otherwise, everybody would do it. And then we work closely with the government to make sure that after they print it on their very fancy, very high-tech printers, then we work with them to make sure that it's, again, kept safe and made available so that, like when you go to the ATM and put in the plastic card and your secret code, that you can actually, there's something in there that can come out and be in your hands so you can spend it. So the government prints it and decides how much to make, and then the government works with the bank, like ours, to make it available to people.
Great question. Parker Kempson, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. So well, it's not a question. It's more like something I want to show you. I
Oh,
made this
goodness.
invention actually just on the Zoom. I put two printer.
So while on the
Yeah.
Zoom, you created. Thank you. Yes.
Right
You know
here.
what? Yes, and
And
creating
it
is
folds up.
awesome. Creating is so important. Thank you for sharing. All right, questions, friends. Mr. Huggins is a busy gentleman. We want to make sure that we maximize his time and answer all these questions we have. Liliana, what's your question?
Which Bank of America do you work at?
Ooh.
Well, right now, as you can probably tell, my house. But we do have a lot of buildings. And usually I work at the one downtown, uptown, if you like, that has the pointy top. It's a pretty new building, and it looks like it has a little glass pyramid on top. That's my building.
I know that building.
That's pretty cool. And you know, it's very exciting because I'm going to interject here and ask a question. So, you know, when you drive to Uptown and you see Panther Stadium, you see Bank of America Stadium, like that's so weird, Mr. Huggins. Can you explain that a little bit?
Like, do the Panthers work at Bank of America?
Right,
No,
I
they
mean,
don't. But what a company like ours does is we say, hey, people love football. And so what we want to do is associate our name so that when people think of a cool team like the Panthers, that they also think Bank of America. That's good. We like that Bank of America likes the Panthers. We like the Panthers. Everybody's happy.
yeah, so it's like a sponsorship and advertising kind of bundled up.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see. Aiden, do you have a question?
Yeah. How did you lose your eyebrow? It's white right there.
Yes, that is the question everybody wants to know.
Oh, good grief, goodness.
I just don't actually know. And so maybe you should have a contest where everybody comes up with their best story for what could have happened. And then you can send those to me and I'll use the favorite one as whenever somebody asks me in the future.
All right, I'm going to compile a list of those for you, Mr. Huggins. What an interesting question. Ladies and gentlemen, please remember to try to keep your questions focused on careers and work. Anybody else have a question? We're going to go with one more. I feel like we're getting a little squirrely. And I'm going to have Emerson. Emerson, what is your question, friend? Everyone else, please mute yourselves. Everyone mute yourselves, please. Parker, Reese, mute yourselves, please, so that we can hear the question. Emerson, try again, friend.
Do you save your money to buy stuff?
Yes. What I do is I set a goal. Let's say my goal is to buy a car. Then I look at, well, how much does that cost? And then I figure out, well, that looks like I need to, if a car is $100, which it's not, but $100, then what I will do is say, well, I could put $1 in my piggy bank every day for 100 days, and then I would have $100. So it's important to start out with asking the question, what is it that I need? How much does it cost? And then start working toward that goal.
That's a great question.
Mhm.
I've always heard, Mr. Huggins, I'm just going to say this, save, donate, and like pay yourself, right? So you want to pay yourself and save. Well, I guess spend is the other one. So
Save, give, and
save,
spend. Yeah.
you want to pay yourself and save. You want to maybe donate a little to help others, and then have some to spend. Like if your groceries are going to cost a certain amount, you want to be sure that you have that money set aside. All right, guys. I still see hands up, but you know what? It's inching up close to lunchtime. And if you have a burning question that did not get answered, please email your teacher and let your teacher reach out to Mrs. Person, and I'll put all those questions together and send them to Mr. Huggins, and I will get back to you and let you know what the answers are. Earlier, we learned how to say thank you in sign language. So thank you is when you take your fingers and you brush them under your chin and kind of stretch your hand out. So rather than unmuting and all like yelling and thank you, because we can get a little crazy. Let's say thank you on the count of 3 to Mr. Huggins. And wow, I certainly learned a lot about banking, and I still can't get that $17 trillion number out of my brain. It was a big number. All right, guys, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Huggins. It was a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much. And if we get any questions, I will forward them to you.
Great. I will be
Bye,
forwarding
Mr.
it there.
Huggins.
Thank you.
Huggins.
Mr. Huggins.
Bye. We had a fun.
Bye.
Mr. Huggins. Thank
Have a great day.
You guys were great. Thanks, friends.
you. Question before you leave.
Oh, goodness, of course. Owen, I know you have a burning question. What is it, friend?
How many customers did you have at your bank before Corona and now?
That's a great question, Owen. So we do have more customers now, and we especially have more people who are using like their phones and computers, just because it's so much harder sometimes to go and walk into one of our bank branches or buildings. And what we've done is we've